Greetings, everyone. Looks like there's a few of you waiting. I'm just going to jump over and double check audio real quick. Make sure everything is good. Come on. Let's see. Good. Stream health, excellent. Good. Okay. But for some reason, okay. Good. Okay. So we got that. Come back here. 2 comments already. Ooh, we got questions. Good. I like it. Okay. All right, it is time. Hello, everybody. Welcome to live Q&A. So we have a few new people, so we'll kind of talk about if you're new. So if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Glad to have you here. If you're watching this on a computer, you can actually click on the video. It'll open up in a new screen. It'll probably open it up in YouTube, and you'll see a chat on the right-hand side. You can actually go ahead and type in your comments or questions while we're rolling live over there. If you are pulling it up on a phone or a tablet, you still have the ability to question and comment. Just down below, look for the balloon icon, click on that. It'll take you into a new screen. You can type your information in there, and then as soon as you enter that, it will bring you back into the video. So, all right, guys. So it's the little things. And I was talking to Joe with Elk Bros today, and we were kind of talking about our season. And this is one of the things that I was talking to him a little bit about. As some of you may know, I got COVID 3 weeks before archery season, and I lost my sense of taste, my sense of smell. And, the last couple of days I was really thinking about what I wanted to talk about tonight. And it's the little things, the things that we don't really talk about, the things that we don't think about while we're out there hunting, because it's not necessarily that we take them for granted. It's just we don't think about them. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about tonight. We do have a couple of questions that I will cover tonight as well. Those of you that are watching live, if you do have questions, go ahead and put them in the chats, and we'll cover those as well tonight. So, okay, so the little things. First thing is legs. The legs really are your foundation out there, and that's one of the things I noticed early in the season was I didn't have that drive in my legs. I didn't have the strength that I normally do, and that's one of the things that's always benefited me in the past was the ability and the strength in the legs to go up the mountain. And just when you don't have that, it's amazing how it really affects you. You can't get up the mountain as fast. You can't go as far. And I'm not saying you have to be in extreme physical shape. Elk live in rugged country, but if you do your homework and do your studying of maps, you can find different ways to get into areas. And those of you that may be new, you might go back into the instructional videos. There's some tutorials in there on Fat Map and some other tools that I use. Those tools are valuable for finding access, but without those legs, that core, that trunk, that foundation, it's tough. So, second thing, your sense of smell. And this is one thing that Joe and I were talking about today. And I made the comment about how difficult it is to hunt elk when you can't smell them. And I never realized how much I really relied on my nose until this year. And yeah, you can find tracks and pee and poo and all that stuff, but the ability to smell them really makes all the difference in the world. Especially if you're walking crosswind and, all of a sudden something hits you, or if you're walking with thermals in your face, just any time the ability to smell elk really helps you locate and find them, and especially when they're not being vocal. Um, it really helps you decide on where you want to set up and how you want to approach those. But when you can't smell them, you really don't know exactly where they're at if they're not making sound. Like I said, you can find some of the fresh sign, but not having the ability to smell. Because there's just something about that smell that lets you know how close you are to them or how long ago they were in the area. Is it really strong or is it just a little faint? So, pea spots can stay on the ground for, quite a while, and not being able to smell that to know whether it's really strong or light, the time frame, you just can't get that. And so sense of smell is one of the little things that I don't think a lot of people talk about, with using your nose to locate elk as well. Especially, usually in the mornings we're, working up the hill with thermals blowing out our nose, and elk are doing the same thing. And heck, are they in front of you? They might be in front of you just 200-300 yards, 400 yards. Without the ability to smell that, you don't even know. So, or side hilling, and again, you have a destination in mind, but you have this crosswind, and then all of a sudden you smell elk right above you. Man, there's some right there. Without the ability to smell, you're just going right on by because you have that destination in mind. In fact, that kind of reminds me, last week, I made a post and asked the question of, what lessons learned did you take away from September? And one of the comments was, don't be so goal oriented about getting to a spot and so focused on that, because, he was an elk, but he was focused on getting to that spot. And so basically he left elk to go find elk, but he didn't find them. So, that ability to smell is, like I said, I didn't realize how much I really, really relied on the sense of smell. I mean, Bryce, one of my hunting partners, he caught it about a week before I did. And then Eric, our third partner, he had it last year. And so anytime we came across, beds with pee in it, we would make, Eric was our designated sniffer. We'd make him, smell the elk or smell the dirt and kind of tell us, how fresh it was, just to kind of get a gauge on, how close the elk were. Just like when, Bryce shot that bull right at dark, we're in the dark tracking, and there wasn't a lot of blood. It was a high hit. So again, tracking, I don't know how many times that, I've been tracking a bull and the nose has told me where he's at. I found him by the nose, it was like, oh, I can smell him. He's right here. And, that kind of stuff. So sense of smell is one of the little things. Another little thing, again, Joe and I were talking about this today, hearing. There's a lot of people that are hard of hearing, and I don't know if it's a pride thing or this or that, not wanting to get, hearing aids or this or that, but hearing, and it's not, it's not so much hearing bugles, but it's hearing the smaller things. It's hearing a twig snap. It's hearing a hoof tick across a rock. It's hearing an antler, scrape a branch as they're moving through. These are all small little sounds that, with hearing loss, you don't hear those things. Bugles can be. I mean, if the bugles are out a distance, you may not hear them. And it's interesting because I've hunted with people in the past that have had hearing loss, and it's weird because some of them can hear the high end, while others can hear the low. Um, Hearing aids are not a bad thing, and if you don't want to get hearing aids to wear all the time, you might look into something like Walker's Game Ear, or there's other companies out there that make hearing enhancement that you can wear out in the field while you're hunting. Um, I had tried and field tested a set of Walker Game Ears, game enhancers, a few years back, and yeah, it really does enhance what you can hear, and it's amazing what you can hear. And the hard thing that I had, there was a little bit of adjustment period on when you did hear something, getting the direction down. Um, it took a little bit of getting used to, but man, you could hear everything. I mean, all the elk sounds, the rustling, them walking on leaves. You could hear squirrels, running across the forest floor. It's amazing how much it really, really does enhance your hearing. And you may not think you have hearing loss, or you don't want to admit it. Like I said, it's kind of a pride deal, but sometimes you need to kind of take an inner look, because if you're hunting with other people and they're hearing bugles and they're hearing things and you're not, then maybe you need to take that look inward and say, maybe I do have some hearing loss. And like I said, not saying run out and get hearing aids that you have to wear every day, but just some sort of hearing enhancement. So, like I said, there's a few different companies out there. Sportier makes some, Walkers. So those are just a couple of examples. So, Mr. Larry, how are you doing this evening, my friend? Very small things are very important. Yes, they are. So, absolutely. Um, Charles Buchanan, good evening, brother. Finally made one. Welcome, welcome. So, eyesight is another one. Our eyesight gets worse as we get older. Some people are lucky and just don't. I had LASIK a few years back. I grew up wearing glasses and contacts and got LASIK a few years back. It makes a difference. And I really noticed it a couple of times this year when I was setting up and I was looking at shooting lanes. We were getting set up and we were starting to do, getting ready to do a blind calling routine. And so I was out front, and in fact, I think that night Eric and I were out front and Bryce was doing the calling. And when I got to the spot I was going to set up, I started picking my shooting lanes, and I immediately really started focusing on the shooting lanes. And I noticed these little tiny branches that were hanging down. So I would go out and I would clear them. Those are sometimes the things that you may not be able to see, but a little tiny branch like that could deflect your arrow and take it from a good hit to a marginal hit or a clean miss. And I mean, we've heard it all the time where people have said, man, I never saw that branch. I never saw that. It's amazing how well those kind of blend in. Again, not saying you have to go get contacts or glasses. If you're set up and you have time, walk out into your shooting lanes a little bit. So maybe you need to get a little bit closer to kind of see those things. but it'll make all the big difference in the world. And again, that's just, it's a little thing that, don't really talk about or don't think about until we have an arrow deflect off that. So, one of the other little things that I I really hit on this year. Well, I shouldn't say hit on, um, was humor and keeping things light. Um, Bryce and I on the mountain this year, we were described by both Eric and my girlfriend as the two brothers from the movie Step Brothers. Just just the way we bantered back and forth, and I mean it's all playful, but the thing that I noticed is, so many challenges this year with, still recovering from COVID. Um, it could have just been, frustrating, and could have really gotten upset. And we chose to flip it. We chose to enjoy the camaraderie. We chose to have fun every time we were out there. And that little camaraderie, that little adjustment in the attitude, um, just made each and every day enjoyable and fun. Now, mind you, we did get into elk. We did have shot opportunities and all that, but our focus was more on enjoying the time out there together. The focus, for me this year really was building time with my youngest son on his first elk hunt, and experiences, for him. And I really sat there and watched a lot of his reactions. I remember one day we were sitting there, and first light, and the sun was just starting to crack up over the horizon, and it was coming through some trees, and on this little face on the hill behind us, it just had these little patches of this orange glow. And I looked over and I said, Knox, and he goes, what? And I pointed at those and looked, and just the look of bewilderment on his face to see that, for the first time in that setting. And it just happened perfect that a bull bugle in the distance right at that moment while I was looking at it. And the look on his eyes, I was sitting there and watching him take all this in, and I was like, man, the little things like that we take for granted, that we don't pause and just soak that in. And I mean, I just kind of sat there for a moment with him, and I was supposed to be calling that day, and just paused to look at all that for a moment. Um, Watching him as the day progressed, and how he approached things, and looking at things, and again, the look on his face when he heard his first bugle, the look on his face when he heard the first group of cows talking. It's just, again, I think it's something little that when you hunt for a while, you just lose sight of that stuff. Or if you have been hunting for a short time, but you haven't had, you haven't found success yet. And, and by that, you haven't punched a tag, you haven't harvested an animal. So all you're focusing on is notching that tag. It's amazing how just a small little redirect of your focus can just change everything. So, Steel and Sander Outdoors, haha, just got in. I will have to rewatch tomorrow. So, not a problem, buddy. So, the replays are there for you guys to watch over and over and over again. So, Jim, yeah, I have hearing aids. Help a lot. I can't hear bugles when they are in the distance. So, Larry, I had cataract surgery 2020 now. Amazing difference. It is. And even if your eyes aren't that bad, um, it's, it's amazing. I didn't realize how much detail you can see. It's amazing what we will settle with. It's, oh, my eyes aren't that bad, or oh, my hearing's not that bad. And then we compensate or we adjust. And again, I don't know if it's a pride thing or or what, but definitely we will settle. And then as soon as you do break down and you have the surgery, or you get glasses, or you get contacts, or you get hearing aids, and then all of a sudden you're looking around and you're like, why didn't I do this sooner? So, all right. Those were just kind of some of the little things that I noticed this year. The other thing is paying attention. If you're hunting with partners and you're hunting with people, paying attention to how they're doing on the hunt or on the hike. Don't be so focused on getting to your destination that, you're just dogging your hunting partners into the ground. So, paying attention to their health. How are they doing? How are they keeping up? How are they handling the hike? How's their energy level? And once in a while, how you doing? Are we hiking too fast? You doing okay? Do you want to keep going? So, again, sometimes it's that prideful thing in the group where, somebody really doesn't want to say, man, I'm hurting. I'm struggling. And if you have somebody in your group that is hurting or is struggling, you've got two options. You can either get mad and kind of ridicule them for it, or you can be empathetic and help them, lift them up. So, all right, guys. So those are the little things I kind of wanted to cover tonight. So hopefully that just kind of sheds a light on a few things. Like I said, that I really noticed this year, and I've really been thinking about quite a bit since season has ended. Good news is, since the smell is starting to come back, was up hunting on Sunday, and actually was able to smell some elk. So, so it's coming back. So, all right, here we go. First question from Michael. Question I ran into this year. Maybe you can cover a bit of this tonight. When trying to work up a hill with thermals in your face in the morning, like an elk, what do you do to adjust for prevailing winds that seem to be going uphill from all sides of the hill? While I was out this season, there was a storm rolling in one morning, and we couldn't find a way to get up to the bedding area without the wind at our back. Sometimes you're going to have that. Sometimes, things are just going to happen where you're fighting those winds. And almost it gets to the point of, okay, we have to pick an approach to get up there that's going to affect the least amount of animals. So maybe that's roll around over on a south-facing slope that's hot, or pick a route where the elk generally or usually don't approach that area. And this is where hunting the same area year after year and doing a lot of scouting and knowing that area and knowing their patterns, then you pick your approach that's least likely that the elk are going to take. So that way you can get up there without boogering too many animals. If you do booger some, it's probably just going to be a smaller amount. Another example of that is, you've kind of got a sunny day, but it's kind of partly cloudy. So the sun's shining, and then all of a sudden a cloud comes and covers the sun, and you feel the temperature drop. And so what happens is when the sun's out, the thermals are going up, but as soon as that cloud comes over and covers that sun, now all of a sudden it's going down. When you have quick, rapid rain, changes like that, there's not a whole lot you can do with it. But Michael, in your case, you just got to pick the path that's going to have the least impact and just get up there as fast as you can. So, unfortunately, what happens a lot of times in that is we'll kind of go into panic or crisis mode. It's like, God dang it, the wind's blowing up. We want to go up. This is not good. And then we sit there and we dilemma about it and we think about it. And it's like, should we keep going? Should we do this? Well, what's happening is you're sitting there and those thermals are blowing up and you haven't made it any closer to the top. You haven't made it any closer up to where you want to be. So sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and you just got to go. You just got to put your head down and go and get up there. So, but it does happen. Sometimes you just get that really weird wind where, it's in the morning, it's kind of cool. Everything's telling you thermals should be blowing down, but for some reason they're blowing up. Or vice versa. You get to midday, thermals should be blowing up, and man, they're blowing down. It's like, what the heck? It just happens. And you just, a decision you got to make. So, the other decision that you can make is, we're just going to back out for today. We're just going to back out and come tomorrow. We're going to go, hit a different spot or something. That's kind of decisions that you got to make quick and decide on the fly. It's not something you want to sit there and debate for a long time. You can have kind of those discussions ahead of time. So you have pre-made answers and before you get up there what you're going to do. I've gone both ways. So, all right, Sandy, I'm hoping you can cover late season tactics for any elk. Have a late season starting November 20th to December 8th. So, honestly, Sandy, at that time of year, you can try some lost calf sounds. But really, your best tactic is getting into an area where you could, where you've got good views, just watching glass. So, like I said, I was up hunting Sunday. It is a rifle cow hunt. Kind of windy. There was the back end of a storm coming through. Started off the day with, clouds, cold wind, and some small little snow flurries. And then it turned into a bright, sunny, warm 55-degree day. We kind of, hit some different spots. We were going to go up and kind of sit this one area, but we got there at first light and it was so stinking cold that just sitting was tough. So we just decided to, kind of still hunt. Move forward really slow, really scan the area ahead of you, then move again, then stop and scan. And we kind of did a loop and it never fails. We got on a lot of fresh tracks, never really laid eyes on something we could pull the trigger on. It was kind of a wrong gender day. All the deer we found were does and all the elk we found were bulls when we're hunting bucks and cows. So, it just kind of how it goes. But, it's kind of funny because we got back to the side-by-sides and dang it, there was fresh elk tracks and fresh deer tracks that walked down the old skid road right next to where we had parked. And so I was kind of joking of, man, I don't know if I'm going to hike and look these areas. I'm just going to come over here and walk up the hill a little bit and just sit there and watch the old skid road, because it seems like every time in this area we park and go hunt, we come back and there's animals that have walked right by, where we parked, and their tracks are in our boot tracks. So Sandy, best advice I can give you is, you can try some lost calf sounds. Covered those, 2 weeks ago? Yeah, I think 2 weeks ago. Was it the last one or the one before? It was either 21-16 or 21-15 on Wapiti Live Q&A that we went over lost calf. But really throughout the day, you're going to kind of do a combination, kind of do lost calf morning, kind of during the times when they're going to be transitioning. Other times it's, sitting on water sources, midday, glassing, open hillsides. In the morning, you can do a combo of glassing and, that lost calf. If you do see something over on, an open hillside or the ridge necks, try to figure out where they're going and get up there ahead of them and just ambush. So, that late in the year, it depends on the weather too. They could be staging, meaning lower elevations in the hunt area, staging, getting ready for their migration to their winter grounds. Unless you do have, an early snowfall. If you have an early snowfall, they're going to hit those migration routes and start heading to their wintering grounds. So that's definitely when you get into your area, pay attention to the sign, pay attention to the tracks. If you're seeing tracks and it looks like just random onesies, twosies, there's a good chance that the main herd could either be down lower or, that they started migrating out if you do get some snow and some weather during that time. So be flexible. You're going to have to, cover a lot of areas on the mountain. You're going to definitely have to go high, mid, low to find them and find out where the groups are. If you are in areas where you're just seeing randoms, onesies and twosies, your best bet is to keep looking at different elevations until you find large groups of tracks and herds. So, because that time of year, they are going to be gathering up a lot more, getting ready for that migration to their wintering grounds. If you've ever seen elk on their wintering grounds, it's not small groups, it's large groups. So, be flexible. That's kind of the best late season tactic I can give you. That's kind of a combination that I did, Sunday. Did some lost calf routines, did some lost cow routines. Didn't bugle at all, so was just focusing on the lost cow and calf. Not together. It's either you either do a lost calf or you do a lost cow. Only difference between them is lost calf is much higher pitched and shorter, where calf is lower pitched and longer. So just kind of remember that. So, and then, I was doing some glassing, was doing some still hunting, was covering different elevations, just really looking, for the group. And, we got into a lot of fresh sign. It just seemed like we were just kind of a half a step behind them. So, but that's how it goes with that rifle. So, especially late in that year. So, all right, guys. Well, that's kind of it for tonight. That's the questions we had. If you've got any more questions, go ahead and throw them in. So next up, we are 2 weeks. So the 27th. And actually, I will not be here, heading to camp that Wednesday for a late season rifle bull hunt. My girlfriend Liz has a tag, so we're heading up Wednesday the 27th. Might do it Tuesday the 26th. So just keep a tab, on the Patreon page. If I am going to be able to do it, I will make a post early in the day letting you guys know that, I am going to go live. But yeah, Wednesday the 27th, we're going to be heading to camp and trying to get her a bull. And, I think after what we found on Sunday, I think we kind of know where we're going to take her. We found a few bachelor groups of bulls that are hanging out. So they will be there until the snow flies and pushes them out. So those are going to be the areas that we're going to hit. So, all right, guys, I am not seeing any questions pop in. So again, hopefully the little things kind of got your brain going a little bit, kind of gave you some things to kind of think about. The little things really do make a huge difference. So, all right, guys, appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for participating. As always, keep calling, keep practicing. Most importantly, though, have fun. And we'll see you guys on the next live Q&A brought to you by Elk Calling Academy. Good night, everybody.